brought to you by Gamivo.com. Get the cheapest game time on the market, as well as other Warcraft products. Check out the link in the description below. At one point, the scariest army we had ever faced. Now with the Lich King gone for good, what exactly will happen with him? We know about the pre-expansion assault, but if the Lich King were to return after Shadowlands, would the Scourge still be a thing? Or just a scary reminder of the past? The Scourge is one of the most iconic enemies in all of Warcraft history. To many, they felt like the toughest villain thus far, even though we faced the Burning Legion and the Old Gods, but in-game, they weren't really that big of a deal. That is, of course, because it is in-game, the same game where the large town of Goldshire is literally like 3 buildings and 10 NPCs. In the lore, the Scourge is actually massive. We don't know the exact numbers, but they're very large. You have most of the Northern vehicle, the Nerubians, the Trolls, a significant portion of the Dead Elves, as well as all the casualties from the fallen human kingdoms. Of course, we destroyed quite a large number of them, but they have also regained their strength by resurrecting our forces. Still, if you actually observe the quests and the things that we have done in Wrath of Lich King, you realize that most missions were, in one way or the other, just a type of sabotage, incursion, or some sort of destroying the brain behind the operation. We never really had many massive assaults, like frontal assaults against the undead out in the open, which of course is smart, as not only would it be incredibly stupid, but also very deadly. Ultimately, we invaded the Ascron Citadel and killed Arthas, but that was only because that was his plan, and it failed. He lured us in and wanted to resurrect us. It was essentially the peak of Lich King's arrogance. If he really wanted to fight us directly and like go to the last man, we would have had a much tougher time. The point is that the Scourge remained, which is evident with Bolvar taking the throne as the jailer. The undead didn't just burst into non-existence. A large number of them remained, and they were put under control by the fallen paladin. Now, as the Lich King was destroyed, we already know what will happen. The Scourge will just be set loose upon us, which is kinda scary, as even when we faced them at full strength, they would always attack in planned waves under control of a commander, but now they're just going all out. How this will happen, no one really knows. The reality is that the bulk of the undead army is contained in Northrend, and that the other hotspot is in the Plaguelands and a few other zones with some minor settlements, but even that has been significantly weakened throughout the years since the fall of Arthas. Seeing as they can't exactly swim to our capitals, I can see maybe the Frostwyrms and the Gargoyles attacking the towns, while the rest of the Scourge will most likely attack our northern outposts and just completely overwhelm them. Blizzard confirmed that the Scourge attack is masterless, which means that there is no main brain as in the Lich King, but it doesn't mean that the Scourge is just completely like brain-dead zombies, like just ghouls. Sure, we got rid of most of the Liches, the Necromancers and the Commanders, but some definitely still remained, and I can see them being coordinated in some fashion. Regardless of how it happens, once they get unleashed, we won't really have anything else to do other than to just destroy them. We'll definitely have to either utilize some machinery, spells, or even terrain against them. Or maybe as the rift broke where the Lich King's throne was, the portal will be there and somehow a part of them will get sent to the Shadow Realm and we'll face them there. Or they might get even coordinated by the jailer, who knows at this point. Still, the question is, as we'll no doubt have to destroy them, we don't really have any other choice. What is the future of the undead army? If the Lich King returns, will they be recreated? Or will the Scourge just stop being a thing? This is very difficult to answer, as it will 100% depend on what will happen in the Shadowlands, as in how the story will progress. Many speculate that after we go to the Realm of the Dead and fight together with Bolvar, that the Lich King will be re-established as an entity, or that he will once again play a new role. How that will happen is just out in the air. Now, unless he's just there to hold the rift that we had just patched after the Shadowlands, I don't see what exactly would be his point if there was no Scourge. Or how would he even be able to recreate it? I don't see him destroying half of the mortal kingdoms again. Previously, it was mentioned that most of the undead originate from Aldraxxus in the Shadowlands. We don't really know how. Most likely they weren't just summoned from there, but instead only the energy was tapped and maybe their souls were returned from that realm. I could see something happening with Maldraxxus, as we don't know how the Shadowlands will end, and that Bolvar will control the remnants of the minions from that realm. Possibly. The other, also very likely prospect, is that the Lich King will simply cease to exist. If we destroy the Scourge and Sylvanas broke that connection with the helmet, the Lich King would really serve no purpose. We still don't know how exactly that connection was established in the first place, but it was definitely planted there by Kil'jaeden and the Burning Legion. Honestly, maybe this would just be for the best, as not only for those that suffered and became a part of the Scourge and the undead army, but also for the lore, as the Scourge was a significant and, in my opinion, the most iconic part of the story in Warcraft 3, and also an excellent continuation in Wrath of the Lich King. Really, the story was probably one of the best in all of Warcraft. Now we're facing the remnants of them again, and if Blizzard recreated them once more, I think they would just cheapen the story and it would make them really lose their significance. It is sort of similar to the Legion. Sure, Legion had that epic feeling, but I honestly didn't feel the same epic feeling when we faced Kil'jaeden and Sargeras as when we faced the Burning Legion back in Warcraft 3, or when we just heard like rumors about it. Anyway, my conclusion is that the Scourge will most likely cease to exist, as they have really overstayed their purpose, although there is a possibility that they can be recreated in a new fashion. Thank you for watching. Check out what is there left to fight after the Shadowlands, and also check out my second channel, Doran's Academy, for videos on real world history and science. See you next time.